So, mate, you tell us about your you're on. I've started recording now because I knew you start fucking talking from the get go. I thought Darren's not going to be. He's not going to be shy. He's not going to fucking go. Oh, hang on, check my hair, check my makeup. So I've started recording as I'm going to do the official welcome to meet the members, do the dad bod shit. Give us a for the boys who don't know. We've had a couple of chats, but for the boys who are going to look at this, you've lost a shitload of weight. You've had a bit of a tough old journey the last little while. So take us back. Give us the dad bod story. How did you get fat? How did you lose that? What did you do? All that shit.
Yeah. So look, I was growing up, and I was always big growing up. But I played football. I played this. I cycled. I was junior Northern Territory road track and road champion cycling when I was a kid.
Fuck. Okay. So you were good.
I got sashes and medals, and when I was 10, 12, 14, 16, I couldn't be beaten up there, you know. So that was.
So were you overweight then, Darren, or were you skinny as and fucking fit as?
Not skinny as, but I was solid, and a lot of photos I was solid. I was overweight, but just muscle and fit. And just power.
Yeah.
So then I went to Queensland, and cycling down there in Queensland was a completely different thing. We moved out further away, and it was too far to go somewhere to cycle where we were. So I stopped cycling. So then, you know, you're 13 or 14 or whatever like that. You're not doing your exercise anymore, but you're still eating your same shit and that sort of stuff. And then, you know, so you start to put on the weight. And so I started playing different sports and doing other things at school, playing rugby league because Queensland, and so you know, just going along, but getting a little bit older. So I was starting to put on weight at school, and that sort of stuff. Like at school in my year, I think it was year 10, or might even be year 11. I had to go get pants for me from this tailor, this lady who Mum found made pants. I couldn't buy any pants anymore, you know.
Oh really? Fuck.
I was like, I think a year 9, I was, you know, a year 10 or 11, and you know, I'm in 117 kilos and 117 size pants or something like that, as I remember.
How tall are you, mate?
Now I'm 181, 182, something like that. So I've always been tall. When we came from Darwin to Queensland, they started school at a different age there. So I went from like year 7 in Darwin to year 8 in the August in Queensland because I did a few tests and I was advanced for so they, instead of coming down in the August from year 7, I came down to in August to a year 8. So I virtually skipped 9 school. And so everyone in year 8 around me was that year older. So I was sort of, you know, I was like, when I finished school, I was 16 and 9 months when I finished high school.
Right.
I didn't turn 17 until the January the next year. You know,
so you're a young fella.
Yeah, and kids around me were all 17 and 18 getting their license, driving to and from school, and you know, I was on the push bike. So you know, one of the things I can remember at school was you know, the Commonwealth Games were in Brisbane, and at the start of the year and about February or what it was, they came around and they were going to get about 50,000 kids from schools to be part of the opening ceremony, hold up placards in the middle of the arena, the big kangaroo, you know, went around. And it was great. You get a tracksuit, you're part of it, and, you know, go to a rehearsal. So everyone thought it was fantastic. Problem was you had to go into the principal's office. You had to get, the people came out, you had to get weighed. You had to get your height measured. And you had to be under like 90 kilos and a certain height for the tracksuit or everyone to fit in a certain stereotype.
Shit. Yeah.
And so I go in, I'm in whatever year, you know, young kid, and I don't get in. You know, like, I get on the scales and I'm like 102 or whatever. Oh, no, I can, nah. So I don't get in. So, you know, like just depression and stuff like that, and things like that, excluded from things when you're at school. But I was doing the right stuff. You know, I'm eating my 5 or 6 Weet-Bix in the morning with me banana and Milo in the morning and playing cricket on the weekends. And I remember getting, I wasn't a top 6 batsman, and I wasn't a top 6 bowler. If I could have a bowler every now and again. But I remember going in this one time, and the guys, some of the kids are pissed off to the shops around the corner to get some, you know, drinks and that. and about 5 of our blokes got out. So bang, bang, bang. And the coach said, well, you better get in. There's no one else here or we've got to forfeit the innings. So I go, and so I'm going, no, this is my time. So I batted out for 2.5 hours or so, 3 hours till the end of the day, scored 48. That's great. We saved the game and we're in the finals next week. But I get man of the match award, chuck. So what do they give you? They give you a Macca's voucher.
Of course they do.
They give you a Macca's voucher. So, on the way home, I'm going, I've got this great, stuff, and I get a Macca's voucher. So, look, I was always sporty as a kid, played sport. I played AFL football when I was here in Melbourne. We won premierships. I played rugby league in Queensland. I cycled in Darwin. I played baseball in Darwin. At high school in Queensland, we had the teacher that came over from America, and he brought gridiron to the schools. So we played that, in the schools in Queensland, Southeast Queensland. They had 6 schools, 8 schools doing it. I would ride probably anything up to 7 to 10 Ks to school on my BMX and ride home. I had to work. Bus didn't come to where we were. We were over the other side of the highway. So it
wasn't lack of exercise, mate.
Hey?
It wasn't lack of exercise that.
No, it wasn't lack of exercise. It was just no lack of exercise. So then, finished school. I get an apprenticeship in Victoria. Come down to Victoria, and I was an apprentice baker. Get into a bit of running, still doing my stuff. So, I started umpiring. So I started umpiring. My cousin, I went to go watch my cousin play football, and he's playing in one of the local leagues here. And then they say, well, you might as well. We need a boundary umpire, and it was low enough levels that you never got paid. You got a pie or a Coke or whatever. So I was doing that, and so there was never a lack of willpower or wanting to do something, or I was doing 5K fun runs, 10K fun runs, and my other uncle, he was a runner, so there was nothing either in that way, and it just crept up and did that way. So how big were you back then, mate? When you were doing all that shit and working as a baker in your sort of your 20s to 30s, were you a big fella then? Yeah, I was solid. I was probably 115, 120, something like that. Then down 100 and what have you. But I never really weighed myself, so I was doing it, so I didn't really worry about it. So, going through life normal, you're getting older, your 20s and your 30s and stuff like that. Then you lose a bit here, and I remember going from coming from Melbourne to Queensland because my dad had motor neuron disease, and so I went back to Queensland to live with him to help him out. We owned 6.5 acres, and I thought, well, this summer I'm going to get real fit and lose my weight again, and so I went on steamed vegetables and this and that. And I was mowing the lawn with a mower, so I was working, but then I was going out and doing 3 hours at the hand mower, pushing, grass is this tall and 6.5 acres and stuff. In the 7 months, I lost 40 kilos. I was down about 105, and I went back umpiring. So I was umpiring in Queensland First Division. So on a Sunday, I'd goal umpire on the First Division for AFL footy. On a Saturday, I'd either do junior field umpiring, so I have my field umpiring certificate, so I do under 14s, under 16 field umpiring. Or I was doing boundary, second division boundary, running 10, 12 Ks, doing boundary umpiring. So, I was working out 6-7 days a week, training 2 days at umpiring, playing umpiring boundary or field boundary on Saturday, goal umpiring Sunday. I worked out and I qualified to get in the AFL on the AFL list in Queensland, but back then I was too old. When Victoria found out how old I was in the coaching panel, I was too old, so got overlooked for some younger people. So they couldn't do that now, because they changed the rule. But they did training into someone. How old are you now, mate? Hey?
How old are you now?
How old? 51.
51, cool. So, so then
I was 32 at the time, and they didn't want to put 5 years of training into me so that they wouldn't get out of me.
Yeah, that's cool. All right. So then in your 40s, so when did you start working for Qantas? Was that recent or was that?
No, that was, I worked for Qantas I was working for a supermarket. The supermarket sponsored the Paralympics in Sydney. And I volunteered for take 2 weeks of my time to go down to be a volunteer for the Paralympics. So that was 2000. And then I was watching people that were swimming with no arms and all that sort of stuff and helping out and doing that sort of stuff. And I just got so inspired. I went back to the supermarket and said, hey, I've had enough. And I applied with a mate of mine was working for Qantas in Tasmania, and they opened up a call centre down there. And I applied, got it, and I started in the 2001, like the January the 4th. I think it was around my birthday, about the end of January in 2001. And then I worked for them for, after about a year, I came across to Melbourne and worked in Melbourne reservations for about a year, for about 6 years. And then I went to Queensland for a year. So I worked for Qantas for about 7 years in reservations at the airport and stuff like that. So
what do you do now? Are you retired, or are you still a working man? Or
no, I'm still working man. I'm do what they call a data officer or field officer. So I do data collection. I work for a labour hire company, and we've got a contract for PTV Melbourne, Victoria Department of Transport. And we'll go on to say buses or trains or trams, and do data collection of people touch on or touch off rates, so they know how many.
Right. Yep.
That sort of stuff and things like that. So it's it's good. It is what it is, because I was working for a Webjet about 5 years ago, and a few different connotations and stuff, and I was working in a stressful job. I was on 70, 80 hours a week, but I was getting bullied at work by my boss, and I'd known the guy for 9 years. The problem was, I admit it, I couldn't tell you now what a vowel or a verb is, but I can write something, and I do journalism work, or I can look at a website and go, that word is wrong. There's a comma missing there. That sentence doesn't make sense. So I have the perception of the thing, but I just don't know. I probably got it, but if you told me what it was, I'd understand it. But it's just the way I'm good at maths. I'm good at numbers. Great at data.
Yeah.
Great at sales. Great at a lot of stuff. But my actual written English is shit. And I did that for so many years. So he knew it. He was bringing it out of me, and I do chats, or I do work, and then he'd email me every night, 3 or 4 different emails. This sentence is not a complete sentence. You've missed this comma here. You've missed this apostrophe here, and but I'm selling $15,000 luxury Europe packages to people over phones, right?
Yeah. But he's smacking you for fucking emails.
And making $100,000 sales a week.
Yeah.
And having going, oh, you're the best salesperson I've known. And he was the head of Queensland and head of Victoria and Tasmania for one of the largest travel agencies, the largest travel agency in Australia. And so he goes, out of all the people I know, you're the best salesperson, best people skills person, best customer service person I've ever known. And I used to run the customer service department, build it from scratch. But little bit known, there was things playing behind. He wanted me out, and that was
Absolutely.
That whole year, I went from, I was still eating. Look, what I look at now, I was eating shit, but I was still having a bit of sushi for lunch, or I wasn't going out and having burgers and Hungry Jacks every day and stuff like that. I was going having a wrap or stuff like that. I was having my Weet-Bix and milk and stuff like that. Full cream milk. So
when did the keto shit come in? When did you sort of have that light bulb? I'm going to do keto, and where did the big weight loss kick in? How old were you, and what happened there?
Well, I was 47. I went to holiday in September so it was 5 years ago, just gone. At Father's Day, I went to Bali to a mate's wedding.
Yeah. And
at the wedding, I polished, like I see back now, I polished off like a bottle and a half of Jim Beam, and you smash it for the best of them and stuff like that. But I was just like, I was in a bad way. I was only drinking because I was depressed and suicidal for the work. So then I did the 4 days there in Bali, the wedding, and then went to Thailand with the rest of the family. They were in Thailand, and we go down to Pattaya. been going there for years, started this little hotel, and I got a couple of mates there that I run Hash Harriers with, and this guy I sat down with, he said, mate, you look like shit. He was honest enough to tell me, in hindsight, I look like shit. You need to do something. You're sick. And I've been reading about this low carb stuff. You know, you can eat bacon and you can do this and you can eat steak. And I'm going, oh, yeah. And the funny thing was, I used to buy diet pills from the tailor down the road. I used to get my shirts made. So I had to go and get my shirts and pants made to work, because I did that every year in Thailand. Yeah. And I buy diet tablets off him to try and lose weight. So the urge was there to lose weight. The want was there. But so I put on like about 40 or so kilos in that year, and it was the depression and the lack of sleep and the grog and everything else. And so I went home, came home in October, went back to work, and then the work just went shit. You know, had a one-on-one. You're not this, you're not that. Why? So, you know, we've had to put 2 people on while you're away. So it was my fault that they had to put 2 people on to cover the work that I was doing, right? But they didn't realise that that should have been an indication to them that I was getting overworked and I was stressed and how much work I was doing, so that they had to put 2 people on just to cover the workload that I was doing. So the December, I decided, look, I've got to do something. And then New Year's Day, I said, that's it, I'm doing low carb. So I went cold turkey, and I went onto dietdoctor.com, and the wife and I, they send you a 2-week meal plan, a different recipe every day for 2 weeks for free.
Yep.
For free? I said, yeah, for free. So after 8 days, I come home from work, and I was driving home from work, and I was, to be honest with you, I had about 4 emails that day about it. I was at the end of my rope. I was looking for a truck to drive into to take my own life on that afternoon coming home.
Fuck.
Freeway. And I said, and I snapped out of it, and I had a friend of mine who's a lawyer, and I couldn't ring the wife. I couldn't bring myself to it. You know, what do I do? So I rang my friend, and he's a lawyer, rang his mobile, and guess what? The lawyer answered the phone.
Fuck, that's good. He wants the money.
So he's a good mate of mine through a friend and everything, and I've used him before and some stuff. And he's a HR lawyer. He deals with this shit. So he knew what was going on. He took me home for 40 minutes. I went and picked up from school care, drove to the doctor's, plonked her in the reception room. I still had my mate on the phone. And I said, I'm going into the doctor's now. He said, okay, I'll let you go. Give me a call. So I went in, sat down, and 40 minutes later, I was on workers' compensation and virtually on suicide watch, and I rang my wife, and he rang to talk to the wife. I went home, and then that was it. So the brain fog had started to clear, and the depression had started to clear after about 8 days of going low carb. And so I started getting awareness of what was actually happening and stuff. So in the first 2 weeks, I lost about, I would say about 6 to 8 kilos in 2 weeks. Wow. And shit, what is going on here? How long has this been going on? You know? Then I started to panic. I said, well, what do I do now? You know, my wife said, what do we do now? I said, I don't know. I said, I don't know what's working. I said, let's do it again. So we did the same meals again. So for the month. So then, by this time, I'm at home. I'm on work cover. I'm not going to work. Pressure's been taken off. And by the way, they put another 2 people on. So they now, I wasn't at work. They had
4 to cover 1.
4 people to do all my job so they could get themselves into this thing and what's the stuff. So anyway.
Beautiful.
I started reading up on what was happening. I found out that I wasn't spiking my insulin and doing this, and I was getting into podcasts and listening. And I went to the local swimming pool once, 3 times a week for about half an hour, 40 minutes, walking around the thermo pool. And it wasn't for exercise, it was just to get out, to get my head in the right spot. I started going to a psychologist through work, and once a week started talking and started realising what was happening, and you know, that it wasn't my fault. So That's how I started it. You know, a friend of mine told me I was shit. He was able enough to stand up to me and tell me how it is, because people don't tell you how shit your food is or how bad you are until you start to eat properly, get healthy, and you know, I'd go when I was at work. They'd have a birthday cake for everybody who was birthdays that afternoon, 3 o'clock. So I'd have a hamburger, or I'll be on fasting for lunch. I wouldn't have anything to eat. And a guy goes to me, "Oh, come on, don't be antisocial. Have some cake and all that sort of stuff. You know, you're having antisocial." I said, when you were on Ramadan for the last 30 days, I didn't bring my bacon and egg burger to you and say, "Hey," I said, "So don't be rude to me." I said, "I respect what you do with your body. Respect what I do with mine." He goes, "Oh, yeah, okay."
Yeah.
Now, for a while, when it was my birthday, they'd bring out cheese wheels, salamis, and all that sort of stuff. So they knew that I didn't preach it, but they could see what was happening to me and what my health was. And so they were embracing it. And that's what your friends and that sort of stuff are. So that was a thing.
Yeah, you're right, Darren. But so many blokes don't get to that stage where, they either fucking fold in the first couple of weeks where they give in to the beer or the bread or the carbs or whatever it is because there's a bit of pressure on them, or they don't get to the point where people start to respect what they're doing and start to work around them. And I think that's, you hit on a really important point there. When your mates and your friends and your family start to, without doing this bullshit about, "Oh, you won't eat that, you don't fucking eat that, you don't eat this you don't eat," rather than saying you don't eat, you're missing out on. When you turn up, they respect your way of eating enough to put the food that they know you will eat in front of you, rather than making a big fucking song and dance about, "Hang on, you won't eat the cake and you won't eat the bread and you won't eat the carbs." And that's when you know you start. I went out to dinner last night to a mate's house, and his missus, great lady, she knows I don't eat carbs. And so there was no conversation. I didn't have to go, "Fuck, I'm not going to have this, not going to have that." Yeah. Just my plate, my bit, turned up with the right food because she knew it and made the effort. And that's when you know you're starting to educate people around it. So, I do get what you're saying.
We go to Hash House Harris. We have a run club on Tuesday nights. We'll go to a pub, and we go to this one pub we go to all the time. And so there was 2-for-1 meals on a Tuesday night. So I ordered someone goes, "Are you going to share? I said, "No, I'll just have 2 steaks. No veggies, no nothing. So I'll just have the 2 steaks. She comes out and she puts the steaks down and she says, "Just 2 steaks?" I said, Yeah. She goes, You sure? 2 steaks? You don't want any veggies with that?" I said, "Did you ask the vegetarian one steak with his veggies?" "Oh, no." I said, "So, I've been eating here for 3 years. You know what it's about. So, but thank you, So,
but I mean, you also you got a big set of balls on you, Darren. You are that quintessential bloke who's quite happy to have a fucking crack at people and push back. There's a lot of blokes don't do. Clearly, I could just chatting to you. It's quite obvious that you don't give a fuck about pushing back on people and making them feel a little bit uncomfortable. Without those balls, without the push, some people just allow themselves to be bullied into having the veggies or having the bread. But you've got to be strong, you've got to be gutsy, and you've got to be able to push back.
Look, it's the thing is, though, you need to fix what's above the mouth to control what goes in the mouth. If you can't turn around your mother, you don't want pavlova because your doctors told you're going to die because you don't want to offend her. It's stiff shit, right? If you don't, I've got a guy that I work with, an Indian guy. In 4 months, he lost 15 kilos. Right, 15 kilos. His wife rang his mother in India and said, "We need to organise a divorce. He doesn't love me anymore because he doesn't eat my food anymore."
Yeah, that's crap. Fuck.
That's crap. And the thing is, I had to go to a psychologist, and I can sit here on this video and tell you I don't know what a verb or a noun is. That's my biggest weakness in my life that I've hidden all my life. I'm strong enough to tell you that now out here in the open, because I'm strong enough in who I am. You've got to, got to deal with the stuff about you happened when you're growing up. You've got to deal with the stuff while you get selected for the Commonwealth Games. Yeah. You've got to deal with the stuff. You need to deal with that stuff, and then like the other day, the guys at work, oh, what do you eat? I don't eat any veggies, don't eat any fruit, any veg. I'm carnivore, full carnivore, only animal products. Oh, that's not healthy for you. You need to eat this, you need to. That's okay. You go and have your smoke over there and come back and talk to me when you're ready to stop smoking. One of the other guys, alcoholic. Oh, I couldn't give up my fruit. I said, but you've given up your alcohol. Yeah. I said, what do you think's worse? What do you think's doing you harm now? You might as well go and drink because you're going to die because of your other shit. So you need, yes, I do have the balls to protect me and what I want to do in my health journey. The one thing I remember, my daughter hugs me around the waist now, not around the neck. Right?
That's beautiful, mate.
She can reach. Yep. Now, every time someone tries to trick you up or put something in front of you or whatever like that, that's fine. That's no problem. Every time someone wants to have a go at me for just eating this or eating that, or like I've got mates that go to football now that don't even include me in stuff anymore. I've been going to football with these people for 10 or 15 years because I don't drink anymore. I get told I'm not fun because I don't drink anymore. Well, I don't give a shit. I'm here. I know people that are angry or that are against me. It's because I'm healthier than them now. I ran a marathon at 30 hours fasted, no food for 30 hours and ran a marathon.
Brilliant. All right, so give me some numbers, mate. So let's wind it back because the boys will be fucking interested in this. So first of all, a couple of things I love the have the history, but don't make it baggage. A lot of boys who will listen to this have these fucking glory stories from the past and tell this story. And it's important to never forget the shit that's gone on. But when you let it haunt you and hold you back, that's when it becomes a drama. Yeah. Now, you went keto, shit started to happen. Give me some numbers. How much weight have you lost? How long's it been? And give me a snapshot into your lifestyle now.
All right, so I'm at my heaviest, and I've got a couple of friends who are doctors, and I've shown them photos. I broke the scales in that early December when I came back from Thailand. I went to so I had 60 to 80% covered psoriasis of my body, right?
Ouch. Yeah.
So that's how bad I was, how stuffed up I was. So I broke the scales in his doctor's surgery at 185 kilos. It maxed out at 185 kilos and then broke. So I would probably, so we set ourselves a limit that I was 200 kilos, okay? Could have been more, but when I look at it,
whatever,
we hit everything. So the lowest I've been down to now is 92 kilos. And I did my marathon at 95 kilos last year. So, but I wanted to 100 to do the marathon because I knew that it would take a lot out of me if I was over the 100. I just wanted to be under that thing and felt good. But I'd done 2 half marathons a year before. Like I did my 2 half marathons the 2 years before, half Melbourne marathons at 122 and 112. And the 112, I did it in 2 hours 38. And then last year's marathon, I was at 95, and my first half of my half marathon, I did my first half last year at 2 hours 23. So I took 15 minutes off my half marathon thing do it in the first half of my full marathon last year. I've done 145k bike roads, Great Ocean Road. If anyone knows the Great Ocean Road, the 12 Apostles, the hills are like that. Hills are like that.
Yeah, they are.
So I did 145k bike ride. I was still at about 115k kilos. I did that in 5.5 hours. Water only, magnesium, muscle magnesium and salt and water bottles, and a coffee, and my black coffee for my energy. I did that 30 hours fasted. Ate on a Saturday morning, bacon and eggs, whatever like that. Bit of Kransky's on the Saturday morning. Done the ride on the Sunday morning. Come home. 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I came home from the marathon last year, walked in, just done my marathon, walked in and my daughter, I hadn't eaten since 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock the day before, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I was on my way home, rang my daughter, said, I'm on my way home. And she said, okay, I came in. She'd cooked me bacon and eggs for food. She said, I knew you'd be hungry, Dad, so I've cooked you some lunch for bacon and eggs. So that was after 30 hours.
Yeah.
The best.
So, what do you weigh about? What do you weigh now? 95-ish.
What's that?
So you're about 95 kilos now, yeah?
No. So I did that.
What do you weigh now?
I weigh about 108.
So, okay, so you go sort of, you fluctuate up and down 100. 100 is your kind of is your sweet spot. Where do you want to sit?
I'm sitting where I'm happy to sit. So I just went out now and did a 35K bike ride. So I can go and do, you know, like the number is not the issue. Last year alone, or this year, I went up 2 kilos and I dropped 6% body fat. Now I would take a 6% body fat reduction.
Yes.
Carnivore is not so much a weight loss; it's a body fat loss. So I wanted to reduce the body fat. I'm happy. Like I can go for a 10K run at 108 now, and there's no dramas. You know, whereas I know people that are 80 kilos or 90 kilos that couldn't get out of their own bloody wetsuit.
Yeah.
You know,
so you're pretty much where your sweet spot is now. So your body shape and size, you're pretty comfortable, and you're full carnivore now. Are you rigid carnivore, or are you keto carnivore? Or where do you sit?
It's not full bore carnivore, so it's not red meat and salt water only. I'm sort of relaxed because I'll have eggs, so I'll have bacon and eggs and some cream in my coffee. I have 4 coffees a day, you know, with cream, 3 or 4 coffees a day with cream. But look, I'm still in size 36 pants at 108 kilos, you know. So I still got my gut, and my gut won't change because it's, you know, a lot of when I squeeze it, it's a lot loose. It's like if you've got a big, you squeeze it, it's hard, you can't pinch it. That means there's the visceral fat there, but I can squeeze it and it just goes right in. So it's just the excess stuff, you know. Do I want to, am I vain enough to go and have it removed? Man, what do I want to do? From 51, I've run a marathon within, like, just coming up 12 months. I've done a marathon. I can go for an 80K bike ride with my mates on a Sunday or a thing. I rode home from work the other day, 35 Ks home from work from the city on the bike. You know, what's a number of 95 or 97 kilos going to be any different for me? I might do it 5 minutes or 10 minutes quicker. I get up, I'll eat.
All right.
You know, so you've got to find what's right for you. You've got to find. Yeah,
no, you're right. It's a good point, mate. You make a fine point because we do tend to focus on this weight number, and as you know, the body fat versus the body muscle, the weight disproportion, and people do get fucking hooked up on the body weight. So give me this, if you so now the boys know your story, and you had a fucking remarkable story on the edge of suicide and pulled yourself back. You obviously went through the keto bit and now ended up doing carnivore. So some of the boys listening in are on the cusp of going keto, going carnivore. So we've now got about 100 plus guys in the group. If one of the boys said, you know, what's your recommendation? What's your big dad bod tip? Where would you go with that?
If you fixed your, because I get hit up every week on food plans and what is this, what are the other stuff. You need to fix your head. That's the one thing I need. Like I help people out. I had a guy the other day I helped out ages ago, and he reached out to me the other week and had a chat for an hour. I met him, had a chat for an hour. I sabotage myself. I'm 3 weeks in, I'm a month in, I'm doing great this, I'm doing carnivore this, I'm great. And he said, and then after about a month or 5 weeks, he said, I sabotage myself and I go on, I'll have this and I'll have that and I'll go on the binge again. I said, it's not the food. He said, it's the food. I get the smell of this. I said, it's not the food that's causing you the problem. I said, there's something else in your brain you've got to sort out. Stuff the food. The food's not your issue. The food is not your issue. The food is, why are you sabotaging yourself? Are you getting ahead? Have you been sabotaging yourself all your life? Have you got ahead sometimes and something's happened, you've had a setback or this sort of stuff, and you think, well, I don't deserve to be happy. I don't deserve to. That's the shit you've got to sort out. Once you sort that out, the body, the food, the rest of it is easy as. So once you do that, sort that out, then your food. And so now, half an hour later, 40 minutes later, he's still drinking Diet Cokes. He has 5-6 cans a day Diet Coke. I said, your brain's still thinking it's getting sugar, right? It still thinks it's burning on sugar. Ditch the Cokes. Do 3 weeks with no Cokes, no soft drinks. He messaged me the other night. He said, Mate, he said, I've stopped the Diet Cokes, done everything else out, no worries. Fuck, I've got so much energy. It's like I'm sleeping better and all that sort of stuff. And I said, see? I said, that's next crucial point is going to come in about 3 weeks' time when you've done your 5 weeks to your 6 weeks. You deserve to get what you get. So that's where that's when it's going to be the hardest for him when he wants to sabotage himself. But once he does that, he'll be fine. So my thing is, fix your brain up, fix your thing up. You're going to have setbacks. I went 6 months without losing an ounce on the scales. Man, I was ready to give up. But I went down 2 sizes, right? 2 sizes in pants and 2 sizes in shirts. I did the bacon experiment. Have you heard of bacon experiments, Dan Quibble? 1 to 1.2 kilos of bacon every day for 30 days, right?
Yeah.
Right? I lost 2 kilos. I thought, my God, what a fucking waste. The house smelled like bacon. I was cooking 5 kilos at a time out in the barbecue just to put it in the fridge to heat it up so I didn't have to do. I went to size. I measured myself 11 centimeters in size in 30 days. Right?
Wow.
So your body will adjust and your body will get healthy in its way, what it wants to do, how it wants to be. So you heal from the inside. You heal from here first. Your body will take care of itself. The food will take care of itself. You'll eat what you want to eat. So that's my thing. The one thing that I do, I found out early, if you eat the same things more or less day after day and same sort of stuff, you've got a 75% chance of not overeating. So if you change your food, so if you, whereas low carb, you'll have your chicken cheese thing tonight, you have a burger tomorrow night, and you'll have a fatty pizza the next night, you're more likely to, 75% more of a chance to overeat because you're stimulating different parts of your taste senses of having something different every night.
Interesting.
So if you need a good hit, if you need to be, I need to get rid of a plateau, or I need to be focused, same thing. Do a month of the same, whether it's mince and an egg or steak or chicken or whatever, just get that couple of core ingredients and do it for the month. Your body will adjust, because then you're not looking for the next, when am I having fish, or I haven't had lasagna in 2 years, I'll have a bit of, it won't matter, you'll eat when you do have the keto stuff, because you're having different taste buds every night. Give yourself a month of that.
And it's discipline and mindset as well, as you said. The mind. I love the fact that you go mindset first, because I mean we always talk about 80% mindset, 20% food, movement, sleep. The other 3. But the discipline of having a routine and knowing what food you're going to eat and knowing what you're going to do. That discipline, yes, it breeds that comfortability. Your body will adapt, and you're right. But also teaches your mind not to crave other shit because you're following a program. And you're following, you're not waiting, looking, expecting. You don't get an appetite. You don't get the desires for the food. So I think that's a big part. A lot of guys need that discipline to get through. Guys are great with discipline when they've got a structure and a process to follow. If they've got no structure and process to follow, we're pretty fucked. We tend to shoot all over the place.
And the thing is, that's why I joined up for my half marathon. Like I did the 5K first. And then the next year I signed up for my 2 half marathons and my full marathon, because it made me accountable. I put it out there, it made me accountable. It was 150. Shit, I'm not going to lose $50 for nothing. But it took me 3 years. That first year I lost about 60 kilos. So that first year I lost 60 kilos. And then it slowly come off from there. And I put back on now. But like I said, I'm in 36 size pants and I can go for a ride or a run whenever I want. So the weight's not an issue for me, because I'm happy where I am. Like I'll wake up and have as much bacon and eggs as I want. I'll probably have 6 or 7 eggs in the morning if I want. If I want an extra coffee or feel like an extra coffee an hour after I've had one, I'll have it. I don't count. So I don't count. I have been tracking myself on a thing called Chronometer for the last 3 weeks, just to see where I'd set. not the calories. I don't care about the calories, but I wanted to check the macros. So I'm about 70 to 75% fat, 26 to 30%, whatever, the give and take of the protein, and about 1 or 2% of the carbs, and that's my cream. So,
Good.
If that's, I've gone from drinking a half a litre bottle of Jim Beam on a Friday night with 4 litres of Pepsi Max, having 4 coffees a day with cream, don't give a shit. If I go to the city, I work in the city, the train stations, and damn, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and those dim sims look bloody hot. I'll have 4 fried dim sims. Have it, move on. Don't worry about it. Don't stress about it. Next day, see you in 6 months' time. Done it. Move on. Yeah. The hang up of,
so, mate,
I've had a donut, I've had this, or I crave this.
I like that shit, because I think you're right. A lot of guys think the whole fucking world has fallen down when they have a donut, or they, I had a mate the other day who said, he went to the local Indian restaurant and they served rice for the meal, and there was nothing else, and the rice was fucking delicious. He hasn't had rice for a while, and had the rice. He's like, fuck it, I love rice. I won't have it again for months, but I love rice, had the rice. That's the attitude. If you're going to have it, that's great. Don't fucking beat yourself. Make a conscious choice. Don't beat yourself up and have it. Mate, question for you. Because you probably get this as much as I do. There is blokes that you would bump into who either start talking to you about what you do and how you eat and your lifestyle, or they're mates and they need help, and it's that fine line between getting in their face and giving them a punch and saying you need to fucking sort your shit out, or just doing your own shit and hoping that one day they'll come to you and say, Darren, give me some help, give me some guidance. Where do you sit, mate? Do you go out there and smash mates, or do you wait till someone comes to you and now says, Darren, you've done it, need your help?
Mate, you're the driver of your own bus. You drive.
Good, mate,
I can't drive that bus for you. So I got about 4,000 or 5,000 followers everywhere and all that sort of stuff on social media. And I get, oh, you're such an inspiration. I said, be your own inspiration. Like when you have a fight with the missus, or you want to kick the cat, or come in for the water, power bill today, and you haven't got it, and you want to go and have food at 10 o'clock at night in that fridge, or order Uber Eats, I'm not there to stop you. I'm not your inspiration, right? So you need to find your own hero and inspiration in you. I can help you to see, like the other guy, I helped him, why is he sabotaging himself and that sort of stuff. People will come to me and ask me. So people, like you said, people come and ask. I don't tell them anymore. I've got my own separate Facebook page rather than my personal one. None of my keto stuff or whatever goes on my personal one, because people would give me shit when I was going out because they feel like I'm going to go at them for putting on it, and it's all about them. Well, you're only seeing your own fears in your own body because you're me, and it took me about a year or two to get over that. So once I got over that, I don't give a rat's ass. Like, even with close personal family, I got a cousin whose friends had a heart attack or whatever, and so I said, look, when he's come out of hospital, when he's ready to go, give me a call. I'll come over, I'll sit down, and we'll go have a day, and I'll do a bit of day cooking, and I'll go through some stuff. My greatest thing is my uncle, 75, 77, I better not show him this unless I'm dodging him a couple of years. He's the next police, 20-odd years on the beat, stress, this and that. He's not type 2 diabetic anymore. He walks 5K, 7Ks on the treadmill because we're in lockdown. His wife's celiac. She doesn't class herself as celiac disease anymore. She classes herself as a carnivore. He's a carnivore. They went 2 years ago. They went to 3 weeks to Europe, and about 4 weeks in, because my auntie was the celiac was carnivore. So they're in his camper van for three months with her sister and him. And she said, well, I'm not cooking 3 meals, so you're all going carnivore with me. So for 3 months, so about a month in, he messaged me. He says, mate, I did my blood sugar this morning. I'm down to half. Should I take half a tablet less? And I said, well, yeah, you should be. You shouldn't be doing it to me. You should be ringing your doctor, but I would take half a tablet less. So now he's off for after 25 years. He's not a type 2 diabetic anymore. I've stopped anything up to 10 medications for myself.
Brilliant.
I was taking tramadol 500 milligram tramadols, 2 of them a day, 1,000 milligrams of tramadol a day, 200 milligrams, so about 300 milligrams of tramadol a day, which is like nearly about as horse tranquilizer.
Yeah.
You know, I was taking drugs that were, if you wanted to have kids, you had to stop them 18 months before to get them out of your system. You know, methotrexate, a drug that I had to take it when an alarm sounded, because if I took any more than the 15 milligrams you're allowed maximum, you could kill yourself and overdose. So these are all the things I've stopped. I'm on no drugs anymore. In those 10 drugs I've stopped taking it. My blood pressure is 117/74. My triglycerides are 0.5. My HDL is 1.9. So I'm not even on the scales of the heart stuff anymore. So, you know, it's been a complete turnaround. But I'm still 108, 109 kilos or whatever like that. I don't give a shit if I'm not 95. Like I said, I'm happy. I'm doing what I'm doing. Your body will settle and where it needs to be. You just can't be the 130, the 140. And maybe, you know, one of your blokes out there, he can't be the 95. The 95 for him is way over because he's 95. He thinks he's 95, but he's got the heart problems because he's still eating shit, right? So that's the problem. It's, the weight itself is not the issue. It's the complete health picture. So that's where we've got to look at it. Lots of stuff as well.
Yeah. So, mate, first of all, thank you. I reckon I love the fact that you have articulated a lot of the messages the boys either don't talk about or struggle to talk about in a really don't fuck with me, no bullshit approach, which is, as you know, what I like. From a dad bod perspective, we got a bunch of boys on the group and a bunch more coming in. And what I want them to do is I want them to look at this chat and realise that, you know, they're kidding themselves. They need to get their shit together. They need to find their space and place. They can own their own health and wellness. So I love having you on the group, and I love having you part of the group, because I think a lot of the guys will now turn to, after looking at this, will turn to you and, you know, go, well, if he can do it, and you're at a pretty low point, there is no excuse and no reason. I think the more chats we have, it gets rid of those excuses guys have, where I can't do it because I had my mother didn't fucking breastfeed me. I didn't, can't do it because this shit happened. And they have all this baggage and story. I think the more people like yourself come and say, I had a pretty fucking tough upbringing, I've had a pretty tough life, but I've pushed all that shit to one side and I've owned my own health and wellness. I think then it gives the average bloke no fucking excuse not to own their own health and wellness, whether it's keto, whether it's carnivore, whatever it is, just a clean, healthy way of living that they're comfortable with, and they're not bitching about their wellness, they're taking ownership for it. So to me, that's the message.
Yeah, and then that's right. And if, like, sometimes in the house here, if we'll cook 3 different meals, I'll have different stuff pouring out or doing, and my wife looks after herself and wife looks after the daughter, or I'll cook the daughter some steak and she'll have some chicken or whatever with me. Like, there'll be 3 different meals in the house. That took a while to get used to. That, you know, how many times have you heard your mother or your wife saying, I'm not cooking 2 different meals for dinner? Well, stiff shit with bodies. Cook different meals. Cook it yourself. If you can't, if your missus or your wife or your mum or whatever's not going to do it for you, do it yourself. They're not driving your
Absolutely.
You are driving your own bus. Right?
Yeah, and the funniest thing is if you were fucking
traffic, drive your own bus.
Absolutely. But if you were fucking gluten intolerant, or you were fucking celiac, or you had Crohn's disease, if you had an actual disease, you would cook 2 fucking meals because someone had a food allergy or was going to make them sick. They have a food allergy. It's called fucking carbohydrates, shit sugars, processed food. That's a food allergy. You've chosen not to have that in your diet. It's as chronic as Crohn's disease or celiac. So you cook 2 different meals because one person's body doesn't like some of the foods that you like in your way of eating.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. You just got to, so that's, and look, and again, if anyone wants to message me through the group and I can help them out in any way, shape or form, I've got some jobs and offered John jobs and doing this and selling that. I get hit up to sell stuff every week. I worked and do the job I do and looking for full-time work and casual work so that I can do my other coaching and other stuff for free for people. I think that's great, mate. I think, first of all, I think, from my perspective, having guys like you say, just message me, I'll talk to you. The fact that you're prepared to spend some time just helping some guys out, whether it's fixing their headspace, whether it's sorting out their eating, whatever it is,
because the way I approach people may not work for some guys, but the way you approach it might be different. And they might go, you know what, that fucking Darren guy, I like his approach. So they might reach out to you. My quest and your quest, like, people are in this business. We want to get guys healthy and well. We don't really give a fuck how they do it. Whether they love you or love me, it doesn't matter. They just got to start the journey, park the baggage and the bullshit, and get healthy. And that's
the thing too, and to put out there and be selfish, it helps me. I'm still looking after my head doing that. It's not. I'm not helping you because I'm helping you because you message me, but I'm helping me. I'm looking after my head first. I'm helping someone. I feel, that sort of stuff, and that's what it's about too. You might not be charging you or whatever like that, but something in return that you don't realise that, I get that so much euphoria out of, my uncle stopped being a type 2 diabetic. My mum's a type 1 diabetic. That sort of stuff. That's what I get out of it now. I don't give a shit about it. And the great thing is, mate, when
but when you're role modelling, you're role modelling good behaviour, you're role modelling good way of eating, good way of living, health and wellness. When you're role modelling and people are coming to you and saying, Darren, give me help, you can't fuck up. You can't step away because you're now being set up as a role model. People are coming to you. So you stay on the straight and narrow. So it helps you, but it also keeps you where you need to be. It's your accountability, and that's fantastic. So you get the fucking perk of being held accountable because there's a bunch of boys out there who will come to you and say, Darren, give me some help, and they want to see that you're preaching what you talk about.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Mate, thanks for the chat. We've done 55, 56 minutes, so if the boys don't fucking listen to the end, they're assholes, because this is a very fucking good story. And I believe that your story should resonate with a bunch of boys. There is a bunch of boys on the group and who will look to you and go, fuck, that is me, that is me, and I can turn my shit around. So I really do appreciate your time, mate. Thank you for being a member of Dad Bod and supporting the cause and the boys.
Happy to help at any time. You're doing a great job.
I'm sure you get a bunch of messages, mate. Yeah, thanks, mate. Thanks. I think we're both doing a good job, mate. I think it's not just me. I think it's you and me. We're out there fucking waving the flag and giving people fucking tough love, which I think is the more important thing. So fingers crossed we get a few people healthy. We save lives and wives and kids and families, and life's a rosy place.
Agreed.